Welcome everyone here to the webinar. Thanks so much for joining us on a Thursday afternoon. And I don't want to take too much time, Gaurav. Please go on.
Okay. So, Carsten, maybe we can give a little bit of an introduction of ourselves, and then we can dive right into, the topic that we have for today. So, would you like me to start, or would you want to take a couple of minutes, just talk about yourself, what you do, and then I can do that too.
Please start. My introduction slide.
All right, great. So, guys, I'm one of the founders and CEO for JOP, Joy of Performing. In my past life, I have been an entrepreneur for about 19 years now. Actually started quite young at the age of 20 and been a tech entrepreneur for 15 years, scaled up several different technology services businesses before. And while I was doing so, in my work life journey, I realized that there is a point you tend to hit a glass ceiling for growth and the way you are scaling your business, and going beyond that becomes very difficult, and you're not able to kind of shut that glass ceiling and move ahead, right? So that led me to the journey of understanding how some of these companies are able to grow extremely well and grow exponentially and sustain that growth. And that led me to understanding of OKRs. I was able to implement OKRs in my other organizations before and reap the benefits, and thus became a fan of the philosophy and how strategy execution can be done if there is structure behind it. That led me to get into the JOP or Joy of Performing business. We are four founders, and we are all very, very, passionate about solving this problem and helping other entrepreneurs, organizations, mid, large, small, in order for them to reap the benefits as well. So with that, let me make you go through some context of what the problem is and why are we even into this. So the big problem that you see is that 20% of businesses are able to achieve on their strategic goals. Now, I would say take a moment, just think this through, because it also means that the kind of organization waste that happens on a day-to-day basis, not that resources or teams don't want to work, it's just a lot of it is not in alignment with the company goals, and they're working in silos. Sometimes I call it they're running on a stationary treadmill where you're sweating a lot, but you're not really moving ahead. So that is a big problem, right? And everyone has faced that in one way or another. And that is what we are trying to touch upon today, and how to deal with and kind of solve it for yourself, for your teams and your business. We can go on, Carsten. Yeah, so while the problem is big and we've discussed that, let's dive into it of what makes that problem tangible, right? So there are 3-4 things here which I will just touch upon, and as we go along, Carsten will also kind of dive deep into those solutions and really help you, which you can take away from this webinar as well. So there is overtly seen that there is a lot of gap between what your strategy is and what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if that is not aligned, then no matter how much effort you put in, it will get you very little or less return out of the work that you do, right? And that also leads to unaligned teams, because the teams are not very clear or what are those strategic goals that you're really going after, and how do you create collaboration between cross-functional or functional teams and go forward. And then if you don't have clarity on that goal, how do you really prioritize? Today we face a problem of too many either ways, right? There is number of things that you need to do, you need to go for. So how do you prioritize and focus on things that really matter? And in the next slide, we're going to talk a little about what those numbers are and how big the problem is in terms of data. So if you can go to the next slide, Carsten, maybe the audience can see. Yeah, these are some of the numbers. I'm not going to talk about them. Maybe you can just have a glimpse of it, but understand the magnitude and understand the kind of resources which get burnt out because of this problem. So with that, Carsten, over to you. If you want to take ahead, talk a little about what we're really dealing with and how do we solve this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gaurav. Yeah, great introduction. Thank you. So a quick introduction to myself and our services. So we are happy to partner up with JOP because JOP is a great solution and we are more consulting side of it, right? I was previously working for Lazada as VP Customer Experience and especially in project management for Citibank and Deloitte in Europe and in Southeast Asia, and also for a while in Volkswagen in Mexico. So I know a lot about cross-functional work. I know the frustration about being a cross-functional project manager, and people often naturally prioritize operational tasks because that's where the money comes in and where the day-to-day pressure is. But the future looking, the strategy is mainly done by projects, not by daily ops. And that's a little bit the misconception also with KPIs and the individual bonuses and things like that. And OKRs can solve that. And we will show you how. So I am one of the founder of Asia PMO, a business transformation service. And we also have the sub-brands OKR Asia, dedicated on OKR consulting, and OKR Champ, which is an online certification for OKR champions. And this is our team and some of our clients here. Now, what is very important when it comes to OKRs? We have to understand where OKRs are. So everything you do in a little bit of more long run, it depends if you're a startup. For a startup, a long run is already 1 year. For traditional companies, already 3 to 5 years. They call strategy or long-term goals. And it's like when you are a pilot and you see over a lot of mountain ranges, right? But you don't see any specifics. And that's often what CEOs are dealing with. Now, OKRs is something which wants to bring you from peak to peak. So normally the cycle is 3 months. We also have 6 months clients, but 3 months, yeah. So what do we want to achieve as a peak? Every 3 months. And then what you do on a daily basis to climb this peak, and sometimes you even climb down and up again, are actions or what you do inside the projects. Yeah, I think this is a very good graph. It's not from us, but this is a very good graph. To illustrate a little bit where the linkage is between the strategy and the action. So you create shorter term peaks that people also have a motivational carrot, not to run behind 1 or 2 year goals, which can be sometimes very exhausting. If you have any questions, I can make some breaks at the end of each slide. Please share it first in the chat. We can also let you later unmute your microphone. But if you have any comments or questions in between the presentation, just feel free to share it in the chat anytime. Now, what we normally do with companies in November, December, and we have a lot of clients like that again this year, we prepare or update their strategy. I mean, you cannot start with OKRs. OKRs is not a good start. I mean, it's not good to start and say, hey, what do we want to achieve until March? I mean, what we want to achieve until March have something to do with your mission, vision, with your North Star in startups, and with your strategy. And once that is clear, we can move into OKRs. And I will show you in some slides how we do that now. Yeah. So it's about updating the strategy. It's also about communicating the strategy again to your team. I mean, your teams don't think about a strategy the whole year. So November, December is maybe a good time to remind them again about your updated strategy, that they're a little bit connected where your company wants to go and not just lost in their day-to-day stuff. Yeah? And there on the bottom are some tools how we normally do that. Now you can do two different kind of strategy, and one works very well with OKRs and one doesn't work very well with OKR. So the first one is an operation-based strategy. So you can say we have a company strategy, and then I ask my CMO to do a marketing strategy, I ask my COO to do an ops strategy, and so on. So this is a very traditional operation-based strategy. The other one is a business value-based or strategic layer-based strategy, which we see a lot in startups. So they have like 3-4 topics they are pursuing the next years, right? And it doesn't matter. They are not thinking, oh, this is a marketing topic and this one is a, yeah, this is a, no, because people have to work cross-functionally together. So the siloing, if you want a silo, comes later, but not on top. Right? Now, maybe a very obvious question, which strategy is better with OKRs? What do you think in the chat? You can answer in the chat. The operation-based strategy or the business value-based strategy? Which one is better for OKRs? Business-based or function-based or organization-based? What do you think? Okay, so operation or business value? Yes, Nivesh. Of course, business value based, because the problem is if you already silo from the beginning, I mean, if you start with that one, I would even not recommend you to do OKRs. Why don't you just stay with KPIs? Yeah, because then you can do marketing KPIs, some numbers. You even don't have, you don't need anything inspirational. You just do some numbers, you do some ops numbers, and it's all like companies have done the last hundreds of years, right? So when you do OKRs, the first advice is think about goals, think about long-term topics you want to pursue, but don't think in functions immediately because you silo people. Yeah. Here's an example. Lately we had a pharma client, which was very interesting for us, our first pharma client on OKRs. Yeah. And once you have the strategy, you do OKRs. Now in the chat again, what does OKR stand for? Can somebody write what OKR is stand for? What does the abbreviation OKR stand for? Objectives and key results. Now in our methodology, OKRs have 3 parts: objective, key results, and actions. Actions or projects or actions inside the projects, because objective and key result is the planning part. But the action or project part is the one where you do things to achieve them. Now, we will do now an exercise where we need your help to develop OKRs. And Nishita will type them in the back inside the tool. So you can see them later live in the tool. Now, if you look at these posters here, and maybe you know some of the movies, Crash Landing on You, Saving Private Ryan, you know football, you know Pepsi, Coca-Cola, you know Maggi maybe, or other ingredients. Do you see any objective here? Do you see any inspire? Remember, objectives should be inspiring, not just numbers. Do you see any inspiring objective on these posters? If yes, please type it in the chat. Yes, to be champion, yeah, or to become a champion, that can be an inspiring objective. Yeah. Now the difficult question is always, it's not so difficult to come up with an objective because it's the a little bit inspiring part. But the most difficulty in OKRs is to come up with measurable key results and key results which achieve the objective. So how can we measure to become a champion? When or why do we think Liverpool is a champion? How can we measure that? Okay. What does that mean, matrix? You can talk, Gaurav. You can unmute and talk.
Yeah, I mean, to have a measurement of and then kind of scale it with other measurements with that. And
okay, I can see you're a CEO. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's very high level and it sounds like an American textbook. Sorry. Okay, so tell me, what are the measures? You are talking like, so what are the measures? Not that I need measures. Just tell me, as a normal employee, what are the measures?
Now for Liverpool or
yeah, for Liverpool.
for goals,
So, huh?
number of goals.
Okay, number of goals. You can measure the number of goals. That's good. What else? Anybody else? Number of goals is super measurable, right? That's great. Saves, number of saves. Now you think very small. All of you think very small about games. For me, games are even only actions, but I want key results. Games is only an action. Game to game to game. Nobody speaks about games anymore. What do we speak about? Not number of goals and number of saves. We speak about a number of guys, don't think about the game. I mean, nobody cares anymore that Germany and Japan didn't go very well, but people are obsessed that Germany didn't win the World Cup. We don't care about a game.
Wins or losses?
About what? What do you win and lose to become a champion? Okay, I know you guys are a very Indian audience. I should have used cricket or something, but I don't know anything about cricket, and I'm sorry for that, right? But what is the big win for a club in the world? What is the biggest thing you can win?
The Euro Championship?
The Champions League.
Yeah,
The Champions League. So, number of Champions League win. Yeah? Yeah. So the first thing I would say, number of games, not number of goals. You have to be a champion, you have to win a certain number of games. To be a champion in the UK, you have to be in the top 6 or in the top 4 every year. And to be in the top 4, you have to win a number of games, right? And then, of course, from time to time, you should win the Premiership, you should win the Champions League, yeah? So these are very almost operational numbers, right? How many wins do we have? The small stuff, I mean, if you win games, I mean, if you win every time against the 17 or 18 place, but you never win against the first one, I don't care how often you win, because you're still not a good team. You just win against small teams, right? Yeah, but you have to win against the big teams. Think about Morocco. Morocco won against a lot of big teams, yeah? Now, this is very operational. This is like sales, yeah? But then Liverpool can also be a champion for people. How do you know that Liverpool is not only a champion in football, but also a champion of people? How can you measure that? I mean, if you win the Champions League and nobody likes you, you are not really a champion, right? So how do you know that a lot of people like Liverpool? How can you measure that? Or any club in the world? Social media interaction, right? Likes, postings, yeah, very good. Yeah, the sold tickets, very good, right? How much is your stadium sold? That's a very good indicator that people like you. And then there's another very big indicator, and I will help you on that. T-shirts. T-shirt sale is a very big indicator in football or maybe other sports, especially with the name of the player behind. And then I live in Southeast Asia in Vietnam. I mean, Manchester United has like 20 fan clubs in Vietnam, which is crazy, right? 20 fan clubs of a lot of Vietnamese supporters in Vietnam. So I know Manchester United, they are champions because they have a lot of fan clubs. And you see, this is the beauty about KRs now. KRs are not only very obvious that you say, oh, we have to care about that we win, that we are the best. That's what companies always do, right? The companies are like, oh, we have to sell. But what is customer experience? What is employee experience? Do people like you? Do people like to work for you? And these are other type of KRs, right? You can measure. And that's the beautiful thing about OKRs. You have one objective, which is a little bit more global. So when you come from your strategic layers, and you can see it here, they are pretty global, the strategic layers. And out of the strategic layers, you can have very global objective, yeah, for 3 months. And out of them, you can develop key results for different teams. Think about Liverpool. The t-shirt sale is a different team, works on. The sale of the tickets is a different team. The training, the trainers who work on that they score goals or win club is a different team. But they all work together against the common goal. And that's what OKR is about, to connect people on the key results, on the goals, cross-functionally. Okay, good? Yeah. And I don't know if anybody knows the Korean drama Crash Landing on You. Does anybody know Crash Landing on You? I mean, I lived since 10 years in East Asia. I had to watch one Korean drama just for education purposes. Yeah. Yeah, you can think about it. One of the key results, and it's similar like in Saving Private Ryan, is you have to bring somebody safely back. Yeah, you can measure that, to bring somebody safely back. Yeah? And then a second key result in both movies is that other people are happy that you are safely back. So it's like a rating, 1 to 5. Are you happy about it? Yeah. Okay. So these are some of the objective and key results here, yeah, and action. Now, if we speak about actions, what are the actions Liverpool is taking day by day to win, to have more fans, to have more fan clubs? What are their actions? If you can type it in the chat. What actions? Yeah, improving their team. Training is an action. Now you see one thing. An action doesn't lead automatically to the objective. Every club in the world trains, but not every club in the world is a champion. So training alone doesn't lead to be champion. Hiring, firing your coach is an action, not a key result. That's one of the biggest things people confuse. Hiring and firing a person in the company, I would say, is an action. It's not a result. The impact of that is a result. Yeah, so if HR always comes along, we hire 5 people as a key result, I'm always like, yeah. So I always ask, what do you want to achieve with these 5 people? That's the key result. Yeah, so you always have to think about achievements and result. The purely doing are actions. And a lot of people confuse that. In a lot of companies, when I ask for key result, they give me actions. Yeah. So you want to pay people in your company for achieving something. You're not want to pay people for fulfilling tasks day by day. That's the big mindset shift in OKRs. Yeah. The purpose of OKRs is mainly the alignment, because you aligned from the strategy, from the North Star via the objectives to more than one key result. If you only use one key result, you are back to KPI, right? I mean, we have a little bit more advanced in our trainings, leading and lagging key results. Leading key results is that you get your work done. Lagging key results is what do you achieve with it, right? I mean, you win is that you get your work done and you get a lot of fans is like a lagging key results. Yeah. And then the actions is that the teams understand what they do. Yeah. It's an agile goal setting methodology because we can change it every 3 months. Very important on OKRs is the review and tracking. A lot of consulting companies emphasize the setup of objective and key results, but the setup is only the planning part. We emphasize the review and tracking, ideally week by week, because this is where you know if you achieve something or not. And if you don't achieve something, you ideally change your actions. You don't change your key results. You have to change your actions on budget. And OKR should be clear and transparent. Nishita, can we switch over to the tool and show some of the examples from Liverpool in the tool?
Can we talk about the examples one more time, please?
The ones which are in the chat. Yeah.
Okay. How about you go ahead and give me 2 minutes and I'll just add them in.
Okay. Okay. So we have more examples on OKRs. Yeah. You see also, I want to get fit. If you have a personal objective, it's about measuring is that you fit. Going daily to the gym is not a result. Going daily to the gym is an action. The same thing on the profit. Profit, you can sell more or have less costs, both direction. Hiring people, doing reviews are actions, not results. So that's the first mindset you have to crack. Yeah. And there's a customer behavior. So I will go a little bit ahead before Nishita is ready with the tool. Now, a lot of companies still set up OKRs in a departmental structure, right? I said the strategy, not so departmental, but the OKRs, of course, a lot of tools also give you team OKRs and department OKRs, and that's okay. Now, I want to know quickly in the chat before we go to the tool, what are the pros and cons to set up a departmental structure, so departmental objective and key results? Yeah. Okay, I go back. Do you have any questions about these results? Adishwa? The last one is customer experience. You can unmute Adishwa if you have any questions. Okay. Now, one more exercise here is pros and cons, right? So what is the advantage to set up OKRs in departments, and what is the advantage to set it up as business values or as projects? Okay, if you have anything, please write it in the chat. What is the advantage of a departmental structure? If you have any questions about the slide, let us know. Yeah, if it's not clear. Yeah, I mean, the lazy part and the easy part is to set it up by departments because they normally have the measurables already. And not only that, they also have already clear hierarchies and responsibilities. Yeah. So if you want to go a little bit a non-agile way and stay in the function, it's easier because the OKR setup is faster. We know who is the objective owner. We know who is the key result owner. We know who is the action owner. We have a clear hierarchy, how to execute it, and the accountability. Yeah. The cons is not very innovative because if you stay in a hierarchy, people normally don't tend to have a lot of ideas, or you don't trigger a lot of ideas. So if you want to go more in an agile and in a team balance structure, you should do the project or business value based. Yeah, it's better for ideas. It fosters accountability everywhere in the team. And it's good about trying and failing if you have this kind of culture. But in order to do that, you need a more educated workforce. I mean, you need people who speak up. So it's also up to, we have clients, we cannot do the right side. We have to do the left side because they are not trained or accustomed to speak up if the leaders don't say it. Right? So both is valuable. There's no something good or bad here, just to be clear what you want and what is possible in your company. Okay, let's go over to the OKR tool.
So I've put in some examples of objectives and key results from the the Liverpool example we were talking about in the chat. Carsten, you're on mute, yes.
Yeah, it looks great. So the objective here is, and we use at the moment the team objective button. I mean, if you see here on the left side, just a quick introduction, company, team, me. So we have company, team, and individual OKRs, and we have an action tracker here, right? And if we go inside, the headline, of course, is the objective: make Liverpool the world champions of football. Yeah. And then we have key result: win 80% of the game we've played. That's a very good one, actually, because I mean, if you want to be in the top 4, you have to win around 80%, right? I mean, 100% is not possible. So be careful if you stretch too hard in impossible. We are not really a big fan of impossible OKRs, right? Achieve 90% of positive reviews. I mean, especially football fans, if they are drunk, they give a very high rating, I guess. That helps a lot, right? So 90% is possible here. And 100% of tickets. It's very hard to get tickets for their stadium nowadays, even they are really expensive in England. But I think these are very good key results. So we can measure them, right? 3 key results. And you see, KR1 is where the team works on. The team and all the people around, the coaches and the trainers. KR2, maybe you have a marketing department, you have an image department, you have a social media department. KR3 are also the people inside the stadium that they give a good experience, right? So you have different teams working towards the same objective, and you can bring it together. And then below that, you can add actions. So one actions you already said is for KR1, we have to train. We train every day 5 hours, right? Train every day 5 hours. Yeah, yeah. That's an action. That's not a result, because that doesn't automatically make you a champion, because a lot of people can do it, right? Yeah. Okay, so all the advertisement you do for KR2 and KR3 is an action, right? I mean, advertise the tickets, advertise the tickets is an action, for example. Yeah, that's not a key result. Yeah, and so on. So these are actions. And what we already say, remember, if you're, let's go back, yeah. So we can measure, right? So in KR1, so maybe we are now in the middle of February. So in the middle of February, 47% is amazing, right? If you have a stretch goal, even at the, let's stay on the main screen, please. Yeah. Even end of February, 50% is amazing, right? For Q1. Yeah. And now if we are in KR2 and you are in 0% in the middle of February, it's not amazing. So then you are not changing the KR, you let your team brainstorm to change the action. And that's also where you include the team. It's not your top-down responsibility as a leader to run around and say, hey, you have to come up with new actions. No, that's something the team should do, right? The ideas for the action. So why is it going well? Why is it not going well? And so on, right? What can we do better? This is the action button. Keep the KRs, the objective and the KRs throughout the quarter, ideally the same. Any questions here? I think we can unmute now if somebody has a question. Okay. If not, we go back to the slides. Okay. So just to wrap it up, because we have to still speak about projects a little bit. That's why you're here, the dedicated link. So if you set up OKRs, there are two ways normally to set up OKRs. One is you already define company objective and key results. A lot of startups, they do company objectives and then they leave it up to the teams or to the strategic layer or to the cross-functional squads to come up with sub-objectives. It's also possible. So maybe you don't want to measure on company level yet. You want to start measuring on team level. That's also possible. Now, what we normally do in December with our clients, we ask them for the strategic layer. So one of the strategic layer is always revenue. Then they come up with a yearly target. That's a number, right? 5 million this year, right? And then out of this yearly target, we would define Q1 to Q4. But Q2, Q3, and Q4 are gray. Why? Because we only estimate what we can achieve. Remember the peaks? We know exactly the first peak we want to achieve in Q1. But the Q2, Q3, and the Q4 peak depend on the result of Q1. So they are only estimated. But they should align, of course, to the overall objective, right? Like it's here. If you have any question, please ask in the chat. And once we have this roadmap, some call it a roadmap for the year, where only Q1 is fully defined, the other ones can still change. Then we go into the key result and action definition. And that's normally what you do in the teams, right? This one can be in leadership, but you can also make it inclusive with surveys and other tools. We have a lot of tools how to do that inclusive in companies. This one should be now on team or cross-functional team level. Yeah, especially the key results and the actions and projects to achieve that. Yeah. So these are some templates. We can share them with you. How to come from strategy to yearly target, quarterly target, and key results and actions. Now, very important, what are actions? This is a little bit of cheat sheet. So we have cheat sheets for objective, key result, and actions and projects. So our cheat sheets for actions. So first, actions should be developed by the team. It's not a high-level top-down thing. Actions should relate to the OKR. I mean, with the actions, you want to achieve the objective and key result. If you have an action, yeah, so if in the football club, yeah, they do something, right? They go every Saturday night to eat a pizza. That should not be an action to help the football training. Maybe it helps their mood, but it doesn't really help to get trophies, right? So you should kill this action if possible. And for actions, you need, of course, a person in charge and a defined deadline. I think everybody of you knows what actions are, and every company has that. And you should have an action tracker. And inside the tool, there's also an action tracker. Or you can probably connect the tool to existing action trackers you have. Any question about actions? I think most companies know actions. The only problem is they don't know key results. Yeah? Now, a bundle of actions where we put them together, we call normally projects. And projects are normally for change or invitation. We also do project management consulting, project and agile management consulting. Now, the very nice thing about projects, where they are very similar to OKRs, is they both have objectives. So if you have a project objective in your project charter or in your project base definition, you take this objective and you put it in the OKRs. It's very simple. And then you know what is in scope, what is not in scope. In Agile, we speak about backlog, yeah, the stuff in scope. And then we have deliverables or milestones. And the nice thing is, if you have an objective of projects, you can use them for OKRs. Now, often the milestones in projects are longer than 3 months or 6 months. So what we do in order to translate project milestones into OKR key results, or you can also call them deliverables, we would not ask you for the 6 or 12 months milestone. We will ask you to break it down inside the 3 months. So if a milestone is to finalize the design by the end of Q1, that sounds maybe already like an objective because it's 3 months and it's a peak. Yeah. Then what you achieve inside this one, the deliverables, you can then break down as key results. Yeah. So the trick is to get from a little bit of longer planning into a shorter 3 months planning. And on Agile, it's more like you take the increments, you take the sprint planning, you take the sprint results inside the OKRs. So if you have 12-week OKRs, you can have 5 or 6 2-week sprints. Yeah. And sprints, it's a little bit a misconception that they say, we don't know what happens in the sprint. Most startup companies we consult, they have a sprint planning and they know exactly what they want to achieve the next 3 sprints, which is a half a OKR quarter. So you can already give me at least a key result until middle of February, 3 sprints ahead. If they work or not, of course, that's Agile. Yeah. And then the same thing in projects, what we call tasks, in OKR, we call actions. So it's exactly the same thing. So this is a little bit a cheat sheet to translate projects into OKRs. Yeah. Any questions here? Good. So I will wrap it up and then I hand over to JOP again. So what we do is normally with our clients, we give OKR trainings, different kind of workshops to set up the strategy in OKR. And we also help you with the weekly review and tracking, which is very, very core. That's why we are happy about a tool like JOP, because we don't want to do the weekly review and tracking with you on Excel. Yeah, we want to have a nice tool because it's more motivational. And then at the end of the quarter, we do another review. Right. We also help a lot of companies who have already run OKRs and they normally come after 1 year and say, hey, we have problems, it doesn't work. So we help them also OKR coaching and champion training. And for the champion training, I would like to offer you, we will send that out, a discount on our OKR champion certificate, okrchampion.com. Thank you very much. That's all for me. And thank you, JOP, for the amazing support also to set up the tool. I know it's very hard on the fly. Thank you so much. Good. I hand over to you. And if you have any questions, I stay a little bit longer. Anybody can ask anything in the chat. So.
No, thank you, Carsten. Thank you so much. I think that was quite in depth and very interactive too. And I think you made it fun with all the examples you took, and with the live examples that we also could see on the product with Nishita. So Nishita, at this time, what we could do, we just have about 10 minutes. So let's wait if there are more questions. And if not, maybe, you or I can just quickly go through the product and also visually show the audience that how the product actually works on the objective, the key results, and the action.
Sure, I think that's a good idea. I just want to remind everyone before we get into a demo that if you'd like to have a personalized conversation with us or Carsten to make this entire process a reality for your own company, please do scan the QR code on your screens right now, and we'll be happy to get in touch. I think there's a question from Ong as well. I will just unmute you, Ong, just 1 second, please.
Sure.
Please go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't hear you from my side. Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It was a very informative section. I'm Aung from Myanmar in Southeast Asia. And I just have a very quick question on the two that you demonstrated. If it is possible for you to go back to the two on the website, the one you demonstrated.
Yes, absolutely. Just give me 1 second.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Here we are.
Right. Yeah. So my question is in terms of key results here. For instance, like for KR1, so like will there be any SEP goals under the KR1? For instance, like win 80% of the games we play, but in order to achieve the 80% of the games we play, will there be like any functions that we can add additional like SEP like goals or SEP key reset under K1 that is contributing to the K1, like K1 1.1, 1.2, which were actually contributing to the KR1. Did you get my question?
Gaurav, would you like to answer that?
Sure. So while we don't have 1.1, 1.2 version of KR,
Sure. Okay.
we usually have KR1 and KR2. But if you happen to click on KR1, Nishita, please, what you do get is the various actions that you can create under those KR1. So you can create as many actions as you want. And then when you do a check-in the next time with yourself or the team, then you can see how many actions of these are completed, how many actions are these pending. If you want to change the due dates, you could, and how completion of these actions are making a progress on KRs as well, because that also gives you a good reflection within your team that or the peak, as Carsten say, that you're going for this quarter, that if those actions are not moving the needle on the KR1, then either you're not choosing the right actions or those actions do not have an impact on the KR that you're working on. So, but you don't go KR 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, at least not on this tool. Carsten, if you want to add on to something here, please do.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen different things. We are also, from a consulting perspective, not really big fans of rolling up KRs. Why? Because KR is an agile methodology, and as if you know, probably agile values is about interaction, is about as a team coming together and speaking about what we achieved or not. Now, I see a little bit of problem when you use tools where everything is rolling up automatically. My clients don't want to meet anymore on a weekly basis, right? They don't want to talk it through. And then sometimes the roll up is wrong or the achievements are not really like they are, right? So that's why the process between actions and KRs should be a little bit more manual, actually, and also from layer to layer, yeah, because it's more interactive based. Yeah.
Yeah. On the same breath, I would like to add what we do roll up is on KRs and how they add up to the objectives. So
yes, sure.
the three or four KRs, how do they add up to the objective? And if you want to also do an alignment where you want to have a child KR to be a parent objective where there could be other KRs created, and those can roll up to the parent KR or objective as well. So that is possible too. But between the KRs and the actions, we like to keep it manual.
And don't start with the childcare. Never ever start in the first quarter with the childcare stuff. If you are new to OKRs, that's already advanced thing Gaurav is showing, and I like that Gaurav is showing. But for newbies, that's I mean, in a lot of tools we have seen, that's already advanced thing, right? I mean, take it easy. People get confused. Yeah, the first quarter, make it layer by layer manually first. But a roll-up function is amazing. Thank you. Sure. Is that clear, Aung, or anything?
Yes. That's crystal clear for me. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for the explanation.
We have a question here from Ishan, and maybe I can answer it first, and Gaurav, you then. How do OKR help build a future leader? Right. If I go back to my slides, it comes down here to this quiz I made with you. Right. I mean, future leaders are normally people who are empowered as part of the team to speak up and to participate and have ideas. So if you want to create future leader, you should go on a business value or projectized structure with your OKRs, right? And you have probably Scrum Masters, OKR, product owners, or OKR champions inside, but not too hierarchical. And this is also a very good thing to identify future leaders, right? Because in some startups we had three of these groups, right? One, they were working on the tool, the other one working on the market, the other one working on the customer. These were 3 areas, for example, right? And then people could volunteer for these 3. I mean, they could work only on 1 or maximum on 2. And the super engaged people, they volunteered for 2 and they contributed to 2. Right. So this is also a way in an agile working a little bit more self-organized when you build these topics, yeah, who wants to contribute what and has ideas maybe above their expertise, right? Does it answer your question, Ishan, or is there anything else?
Yeah, one thing I would like to add here, Carsten, and that would be, Nishita, if you can go back to the tool, we may not have the time to do the demo or get into details, but maybe we can show one section of it. And, if you can go back to the feedback section, one thing with what we have done, Ishan, is to, whenever we see that people are going beyond and making an effort for things that, showcase them as leaders, and leaders are not always the top management. Even an executive at the lower level can be a leader when they show leadership skills, right? So you can actually go ahead and give them a badge or give them recognition within this tool. So let's just show it, Nishita, if you can just show very quickly how a badge can be given. Yeah, so you can choose a frame, you go next, you can choose different values which are there in the organization that you want to promote, or somebody is showing, choose that, you go next, you can write things, choose the recipient that you want to, write things that specifically that they have done, and then, it kind of sticks to their wall for future use as well. So all of these things are done in order for people to be awarded and rewarded for things that they go beyond for.
And this is peer-to-peer, right? Also.
Yes, peer-to-peer. It's vertical and horizontal. Any kind of feedback can be given.
And that's amazing. That's exactly what you want. I mean, one of the tools, the feedback tools, going away from yearly remuneration is peer-to-peer feedback. So if that's enabled here already, that's something, because people feel empowered when they can give feedback. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, there is also a possibility to do it private, while all of this can be published publicly. But if you want to do a private feedback, that is also something which just a talk, and you can do that privately too. Great. Any other questions, anybody? We still got a minute to go. I think that's it then. Thank you, Carsten. Thanks for your time. This was great. We will come back with some more information in the next webinar that we choose to do.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you then. Bye.